Welcome back, my friends. Episode number 33? 34? I can't remember. I guess that's a good thing. I'm just checking now. Oh, 34. We're getting there. We're close to 40. Yeah, fucking oath. It's been a good week. I am bloody sore. Oh my gosh. This week, sorry if you hear my watch squelching around. I've just had a shower and it's a little bit wet under there. I'm back into strength this week. Last week was my first reintroduction to it, but this week I've hit two Tuesday and Wednesday, hit some solid sessions. I was thinking about it today. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last podcast. Probably not, because it happened after I recorded. But my psychologist gave me advice. She said she gave me homework basically, and she said that I need to do things this week. I need to try and do something every day that's just wild and out of the ordinary, something like spur of the moment, sporadic, something random. Because I don't do that stuff normally. I like living to rigid plans because it just feels comfortable. And I haven't done anything at all. And I've got my psychologist appointment tomorrow, and I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't do the homework. And I can't cram because I just haven't had the urge to do anything random, which is annoying. But then I was thinking about it, and I chose to do 2 very stupid workouts this week. And I think that kind of counts. It's training, but usually it would have been sensible and been like, no, it's not a smart idea. Don't do that. But this week I was like, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? And I can tell you what the worst that can happen is. You get really sore. That's about it. So that's me right now. I think every single muscle in my body's fucking killing me, but most of all, my forearms from yesterday's session. So on Tuesday, I was really feeling like doing some burpees and doing some ski erg. So I decided I would set a 5-minute time cap, and I would do 15, 12, 9, 6 burpees, ski erg curls. And I was like, I don't know if I'll make it under 5 minutes, but we'll see how we go. I said if I didn't make it under 5 minutes, then I'd just make it a 6-minute cap. And I just went for it. And I got it done in 4:42 or something like that. And it fucking sucked, man. It sucked my soul out of my body. It was rough. It was fucking rough. And I did some pretty heavy squats. I bumped them up to 80. I did the same as last week, but at 80 kilos, so 20 kilos heavier, which I felt. Yeah, I felt that in my glutes and my legs on Wednesday. And then Wednesday, I was like, I did burpees. After I did Tuesday's workout, I was like, I'm not doing burpees ever again. That's it, I'm done. I'm not doing any more for the next 12 months, because it's been so long since I've done. It's been a very long time since I've done something that short and that hard. Usually it's I'm doing Ironman shit, so it might be a hard effort, but it's hard relative to a, hour and a half, 2 hour long session. Whereas that was 5 minutes, get it done. So it was really hard. And I was like, I'm never doing burpees again, or not doing burpees for another year at least. And then the next day I was like, I might do 22.2. If you're not familiar with the CrossFit and CrossFit Open, it's one of their workouts for the Open this year. And, it is 1 to 10, then back down to 1 of deadlifts for males, it was 102 kilos, females was 71 or something. So deadlifts and burpees over the bar. So I did more burpees and some pretty heavy deadlifts because I haven't deadlifted in a long time. I was like, I don't reckon I could hit a set of 10 unbroken. But then thankfully they're touch and go reps, and I've been doing dead stop reps for the last fucking 3 years or something. So for me it was great, once I get in the rhythm of bouncing stretch reflex, I'll fly through these. That wasn't really the case. So that fucking hurt so much. I got through it. I wasn't going for time. How do I put this? The concept of I wasn't going for time, but I was going for time. I started my timer. I was like, I'm not really going to do this as quickly as possible, but I'm going to start my timer so that if I start to slack off, I, pick up the pace a bit. I think it took me 18 minutes or something, 18:30 or something like that. And Ben and I used to do this workout probably 4 years ago. It was like one of our, shit ones. And I think I used to do it in around 17 minutes. So pretty happy that I was kind of close. When all I used to do back then was deadlift and burpee. Whereas now it's like I haven't done that shit for at least 3 months. I haven't burpeed before this week. Fuck. Probably over a year. Definitely haven't done more than 5 of them, which is wild. And then I did, 15? What's 15 plus 12 plus 9 plus 6? Math freaks out there will be fucking, hot on the trot, but not me. 15, 9, 12, I've said that all wrong. 6, 42, fuck. That's a lot of deadlifts. A lot of burpees. And then how many fucking... plus 4, plus 5, plus 6, plus 7, plus 8, sorry for the dead air, 10 equals 55, plus 9, plus 8, plus 7, plus 6, plus 5, plus 4, plus 3, plus 2, plus 1, 100. Wow, so it's 100 reps. I did 100 burpees on Tuesday and 48 of them on Tuesday. Far out. 100 deadlifts and 100. That's a lot. So, yeah, then I swam later in the afternoon and I got to the pool and I started swimming and I was like, fucking hell, man, my forearms are sore. And I was like, why was it? And I was like, fucking from gripping the bar. Because you got to grip the bar for so many reps and you don't want to let go. So your forearms blow up, which is odd. But it makes sense when you think about it. So that's how my week of weight training has gone. In terms of try stuff, I swam Monday. I think I had a run on Monday. Yeah, I had a swim and a run on Monday. Tuesday was a trainer set and some strength. Yesterday was a swim and some strength. And then today was a ride and a run, which was nice. And then tomorrow's going to be a hectic day because I got shit on all day Saturday, so I can't ride. So tomorrow I've got to swim in the morning and then I've got to hit a 3-hour ride during the day at some point, which, yeah, I don't know. I don't like riding during the day. I like getting it out of the way early in the morning, but it just doesn't work to do it early in the morning. It's not sensible tomorrow. So, yeah, I'll be swimming in the morning and then riding throughout the day. 3 hours is a long time too. Like you start at 12, finish at 3. That's like fucking, yeah, hectic. But you know what? I'll get it done and then I can be free on Saturday. And then all I got to do Sunday is a 16k run. I may or may not increase or decrease that depending on how I feel because I'm pretty fucking sore at the moment. Like it sucks getting up and sitting down. It's really hard. At the moment, I'm just so sore. Like my back, my lats, my triceps, my chest, my fucking hammies, my quads, my calves, my feet. Because I did some barefoot running today. Everything is so sore, but I love it. It's like that good sore where like I flex my back and I can feel each of my muscles. It's mint. Yeah. So that's kind of been my week this week. In terms of training. So let's go back. Let's rewind the clock, shall we? What did I do last week after I recorded? That's right. So on Friday, Ben and I hit up the driving range, or we had some lunch and then we went to the driving range, and that was just fun to hang out and talk a bit of shit while hitting some golf balls. Neither of us are very good, so it was kind of fun to just, I don't know, try and like figure it out. Because I've never really kind of focused on it. Usually it's just been like hit it as hard as possible and see what happens. But I was like, no, I'm going to actually try and do this properly. I'm going to give it like the credit it deserves. Because like golf's a technical sport. It's quite difficult. And I started thinking about it. And I reckon it's something I'd like to pick up when I'm like 40. Golf and triathlons. If I can retire when I'm young, that'd be nice. Just golf and tries, and that's it. Golf and triathlons, and then just chill out. So yeah, I was actually having a crack to hit some golf balls, and I was like, we're getting better. We're getting much better. But like every now and then you would like lose a little bit of focus, and then it would just fucking go horribly wrong. To the point where, well, this wasn't due to a lack of focus, but it was kind of funny nonetheless. I was lining up to hit the golf ball, and I was hitting a few really good ones, and then I like went back and swang through, and there was this loud crack and then a weightlessness, and I was like, what the fuck? And the head of the golf club actually snapped off and went flying down the range with the golf ball, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was just standing there holding a club with no head on it. It was quite funny. And I was glad they didn't make me pay for a fucking whole new club. That would have sucked. Instead, it was like you just pay the fee for a new one, which is like $4 or something, so it's not a big deal. I was spewing they didn't have any drivers, like big clubs. They only had the irons, which was a bit of a pain in the bum, but still fun nonetheless. So that was a fucking nice way to end the week. And then Saturday, what did I do on Saturday? Saturday. I was super tired on Saturday. No, it was raining. That's right. So Saturday, I really needed to go for a longish ride because I'd only ridden for about an hour during the week, and I was like, I don't want to lose, what riding fitness I've got. So I was like, I need to go for at least two and a bit hours, maybe. I can't remember how long I actually went for in the end. I think it was 2 hours. But yeah, I was like, I need to go. I need to do a ride, and it was just fucking raining so heavy all morning. I was lying there. I wake up at 5:30. I was like, I'll start in the dark, and then I'll finish early. It'll be great. And then the rain just didn't stop. So I was like, I'm going back to sleep, and then I'll get up and ride later on. It'll be fine. So I think I started at around 8 o'clock, and it was just shit the whole time. As soon as I left, it just started drizzling, and then I got drenched, and I was like, great, all right, now I'm fucking soaked. And it was just, I don't know, I don't like riding when it's wet. It's just sketchy. Like, it makes things a lot sketchier than they should be. Especially like just the braking aspect, because when your wheels get wet, your brakes don't work. I don't have disc brakes, I have rim brakes, and I'm sure disc brakes are the same, except they probably dry out quicker than rim brakes do. So if you're riding and it's wet and you fucking hit the brakes and you got rim brakes, they just you just keep going. Like, you slow down a little bit, but if you're going down a hill, you don't stop, you just keep going. So it makes things so much sketchier, so much unnecessarily sketchy. Yeah, I don't even know if I said that properly, but just makes, just not a fun time. So I enjoyed it. I did enjoy the ride because it did dry up a little bit towards the end, but the first hour or so was a bit how you going. But got it done, toughed it out, felt good, and then Sunday, I decided to run 20 plus Ks, and I was like, it'll be great. I said to Caitlin, I was like, it's fine, like, you sleep in, I'll get up early, I'll go for my run, and then I'll come back here, and then, you go to the gym, and then I'll go and swim while you're at the gym. It'll be fucking perfect. And then, I got 18 Ks into my, I had 2 Ks left in my run, and I messaged Caitlin, I was like, hey, if you're awake, can you come get me? I'm kind of I don't really want to go all the way home. And she thankfully had checked her phone and was like, yeah, I can beat you. Excuse me. So I got her to come pick me up. Ran my 20 Ks, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. Tapping out, son. So she came and got me, which was nice. Came home, didn't shower, just put on some swimmers, and went to the pool. So she trained. I didn't need to do a swim, and it wasn't a swim to fucking try and swim. It was only for the purpose of... So I got to cover off this backstory now. So I bought a new pair of goggles before my Ironman from the Magic 5, where they you take a picture of your face and they send you goggles that are supposed to map to your face properly. And they sent me a pair of the mirrored ones and a pair of the blue, they call them Blue Magic, and they're just really clear, really crystal clear blue lenses. And the blue lens ones fit fantastic, but the mirrored ones don't really fit that well. So I went on Sunday, and I was like, great, Caitlin's going to be at gym for about 45 minutes. I'll swim about a K. I'll just do sets to really try and tighten, loosen the goggles until they're perfect, because I usually swim with people throughout the week. I don't really want to be doing that in the middle of sets. It just adds unnecessary pressure. So I was like, great, I can take my time, I can cruise, it'll be fine. I'll adjust my goggles, and then they'll be perfect by the time we get into next week's training. Anyway, I got there, and I adjusted the blue ones, the Blue Magic ones, within fucking, I think, 400 meters, because I was doing hundreds or 200s. They were perfect. I was like, great, took them off, put the other ones on. I was like, these are fucked. They were cutting in over my eyes, and they were cutting in. If I did them up too tight, they were cutting in to the point where I'd start to lose my vision. Then I'd loosen them, and then they were leaking, and I was like, what the fuck? I think I did 600-700 meters, and I just couldn't figure them out. I was like, what is wrong with these? And I put the other ones on. I was like, oh my God, these are so good. So I ended up swimming about a K, and I got came to the conclusion, I was like, they're fucked. There's no way that they are the same seal. And I looked, and the seal looks slightly different between the two pairs. So I messaged them, and they're actually going to send out another pair, which is fucking awesome, because the blue ones are fantastic goggles. I love them. They're so comfy. It's just a shame that the other ones aren't as comfortable. So, I guess you win, and you win, because they're sending out another pair, and I don't have to pay for it. So that's a victory for me, I suppose. And it's a victory for them, because they've got wonderful customer service. So the Magic 5, if you're looking for goggles, get them, because they'll sort you out. On the note of swimming, I was doing some swimming this week, and far out, son, I'm fucking swimming really well. I touched on it last week, I think, with pools being open for more than 6 months, but it's so nice to be able to fucking hold on to some swim fitness. Like, I'm flying through the water. It's feeling so good. Like, I think my comfy pace, or my cruise pace, is like sub 130 hundreds, which is, I don't think I've had that, or I may have just had it, last year or the year before, but I haven't had that for a long time. It's so nice to have that back and just feel comfortable swimming sub 130s. Like on Monday I swam at the squad with the Eltham Tri squad, Eltham Tri guys, and we did sets of 600 meters in total. So it was 4 100s on a specific time, and then 200 meter pull, and then you would repeat that. So the first one was on 145, then it was on 145, on 140, and then it was on 130. And the first two were fucking easy. So the 145 and the 140 was nice and easy. It was just float through the water, cruise. I was still hitting, I think, minute 23 hundreds, and then the last 4 were pretty comfortable too. Like, I was still hitting about the same. I maybe bumped it down to 1 minute 20 hundreds, which gave me about 10 seconds rest, and it was nice. It felt really good. So I'm fucking pumped to be at that kind of level. On Wednesday, yesterday my swim was fucked, because for 2 reasons. I ruined my forearms training in the afternoon, training that morning, and then I didn't really eat enough throughout the day, and I swam at like 2 o'clock, and I was like, I don't have the energy to do this. I think I'm going to die. Like, I don't know, it's an exaggeration. I didn't feel like I was going to die, but I started like getting a bit shaky, and I was like, I have nothing. I have no capacity at the moment. It sucks. Like, I would hit a hard effort, and I would just stop and be like, I don't know if I can go again. I did. I finished it, and I did pretty well, but it was a lot harder than it should have been. So next time I should fuel properly. Make note of that one. But yeah, that was all right. Swim. I've got a bunch of little shit bits here. Oh, how did I miss this one? I've just gone all over the list, so I'm chopping and changing. All right, so we'll start with this little nitbit. I have decided that I'm going to start cutting back the people that I'm following and my followers, potentially, if I can ever work my way through this fucking list of people that I'm following. It was at like 3,200. Too many people. Like, I don't know half the people. I just, followed them over the years, and I was like, I need to get rid of some of these accounts. A lot of them have been like deactivated or aren't used anymore, I've realized by going through it. So I've culled them to like 1993. So I've dropped over 1,000 following off my page, which is nice. I just keep trying to do like 50 to 100 a night. Just lie there and like, nah. There's been a few casualties that I've had to refollow, because I've accidentally clicked them, but most of the time I'm pretty good. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm probably going to reduce my followers as well. I'm going to go through that list next and just cull a bunch of people. Not because I don't want them, but because, like, I don't know, I just don't want inactive people following me anymore. Just tighten it up. Keep a tight-knit crew, So that's something I've decided I've been doing over the last week. On Saturday night, saw Batman with Caitlin, the new Batman, and it was pretty fucking good. Yeah, it was a really good movie. I am fucking pumped. Like, I was skeptical going in because I was like, I don't know if Robert Pattinson can pull this off. But I heard good reviews from it, and I was like, all right, no, I'm going to go in with an open mind here. And I fucking loved it. It was so dark. Like, it was really Batman. It was like real Batman vibes. I fucking loved it. The only like thing I could say, if I had to say anything, is he wasn't thick enough. And then Caitlin told me yesterday or something that she had read that he actually refused. No, Ben was telling me that he refused to take gear for the movie, which makes sense. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, that makes it more understandable, because if he took gear, he'd be thick as, and he would probably look more like Batman, like Batfleck. Like, Ben Affleck took fucking gear for sure. So did fucking Christian Bale. Like, all actors that play superheroes and look huge are on the gear. So respect to him for turning that down, and respect to him for fucking pulling it off, and the directors and the whole fucking lot. Like, seriously, if you like superhero movies and stuff like that, and you like Batman, go give it a shot. It's awesome. I just love how dark it is. It's a fucking good movie. I'd watch it again, almost for the experience of going to the movies and eating popcorn and getting to see it again. I probably would do it again, because it was fucking awesome. Except, I don't know. I think I'll save my going again for when the new Dragon Ball comes out in May. I think it's May or April. Hopefully it's April. But yeah, I'm fucking I'm ecstatic for that to come out. You have no idea. Back to Batman. So I usually double park at burger places when they got vegan burgers, because why not? We went to this place on Saturday night at Greensboro Plaza, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get 2 burgers again. 2 vegan burgers. So I picked 2, the most delicious ones, and they were fucking great, mind you. And then I also ordered a loaded fries, because I was like, okay, then I'll have some. It'll be fine. I'll get a small. And it came out, and I was like, that's definitely not small. So I was stuck there with 2 vegan burgers, a pretty large loaded fries, and Caitlin was like, I'm full. She had grilled. She's like, I'm full from grilled. I was like, oh, fuck. So I tried my best to get through it. I got through most of it, polished off the burgers, and then got through probably 60% of the fries, and I was like, nah, I'm tapping out. Which was, I don't know, it was good, because I guess I didn't eat as much popcorn, but I kind of wanted to eat popcorn. I was just fucking so full of food. It was crazy. It was good feed though. I wasn't like, I did not regret it one bit, which is the best. No time for regretting delicious food at all. No way. Forget it. So that was a good experience. That was a good night. What else? What else has happened during the week? I don't think there's much else. Other than today. So I had this thought, right, when I was writing my shopping list. Like, I'm vegan, and I've been vegan for like over 2 years or whatever. And it didn't dawn on me till about a year in, and I was like, why am I writing vegan milk? Why am I writing plant-based milk? Why am I writing vegan butter? Why am I writing vegan burgers, vegan bacon? Why am I writing that? Why don't I just write bacon, burgers, milk, butter? Like, why not write that stuff? Because, or like chocolate, not vegan chocolate, because I'm doing the shopping. I'm not going to go in there and be like, oh, it says chocolate, I better buy dairy chocolate. Oh, it says vegan, it says butter, I better buy, dairy butter. No, I know what I'm trying to eat. I'm not going to go and buy the wrong shit. So I was like, I'm not going to write that anymore. It's a waste of time. So I just started writing normal shit like cheese. I don't write vegan cheese. I just write cheese. So I was like, I wonder what people do. I wonder how long it takes people, if people even change the way they write things. I guess it would depend. If you were doing your own shopping, and like you're vegan, it wouldn't matter. But if you and your partner would share shopping and they weren't vegan and you were vegan, then that would get a bit complicated. So I'd imagine you would do it in that scenario. Or if like your parents would shop for you, that's where you would have to write a proper list of actual vegan shit. But otherwise, like, fuck it, just write what it is. It's way easier. Saves you fucking, using up all your characters on the old notes there. I just had that thought while I was cruising around. Because it was just interesting, very interesting. Nope, what have I done? All right. Oh no, there we go. We're back. Sorry, I pressed a button I shouldn't have pressed. I just thought it was interesting. Yeah. All right. Another cool, interesting thing that I learned from my psychologist. Don't know what that was. So it's a fact about childhood trauma. And she basically, I think I've like low-key mentioned it in a few things as of late, but she basically said to me, she's like, the number one priority as a kid is you want to keep yourself safe. So you learn your subconscious behaviors that keep you safe. Behaviors that you carry with you today. And for me, I experienced like a household that was very unpredictable and not reliable at all, which is why I find peace in like planning things out, being very like to book. Like I plan out the day and I'm like, great, if the day goes like this, it's a win. I feel very comfortable in that. And like coming from, kind of chaos, it's very nice to be, structured. Like when I go do fucking, I don't know, like workshops and shit like that, and they lay out the day for you and you're like, 10 to 12, you're going to be doing this, 12 to 1, you'll be doing this. I'm like, nice, this is cool. Like I know exactly what to expect. Because it's like, I don't know, it's better than what I fucking grew up with. So I think like be mindful of when you do things. Think back of like, why do I do this? What happened to me when I was younger that causes me to do this today? And generally 9 times out of 10, it's, because of something that you were exposed to when you were a kid and then you adapted to try and feel safe. And that's kind of the behavior you carry with yourself today. I just thought it was really cool. So yeah, keep that in mind if you're doing anything weird and you kind of like want to know why. Last thing-ish before we get into the meat of the vegan mince meat of the day. I got sore jaw from talking so much, man. Stop playing with that. I'm gonna move this under here so it doesn't make any weird noises anymore. Alrighty then. So yesterday afternoon, I got a text message from, I'm with a talent agency. That's how I got the DoorDash ad. That's how I've, appeared in the background on some TV shows in the past and whatnot. And I got a text message from them. They were like, oh, you've been requested to do a self-tape, which is like basically an audition. You film yourself doing shit, following a kind of script, and you audition for the part of whatever it is. So I got a self-tape request from Maxibon, like a company that is doing a commercial for Maxibon. And then later that day, I got another self-tape request for some people doing like a shaving commercial, I think. And I was like, oh shit, like they came out of nowhere. I was looking forward to just chilling out today, recording my podcast, and they came out of fucking nowhere. And then like I read what I had to do, and I was like, damn, this is going to be like really time consuming. I don't know how I'm going to plan this out, blah, 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 blah. And I was freaking out about it. I was like, you know what? Don't worry. Just deal with it tomorrow. So I did. I just fucking ignored it, chilled out last night, made butter tofu curry. Fucking delicious. Oh man, hang on. Oh, jeez, quick sidebar. I made this bomb-ass salad on Monday. My psychologist recommended it. So it is, I'll put the recipe out on my personal page. This week I videoed it. It is sun-dried tomatoes, roasted macadamias, like cooked pasta, and heaps of fresh herbs. So I did basil and coriander. And I did baked tofu as well in there. And like, I bought the sun-dried tomatoes under oil. So I chopped them up and just mixed them through. And that was enough dressing. So you literally roast the macadamias, cook the pasta, roast the tofu, and chop up a bunch of fucking herbs and the sun-dried tomatoes and literally just mix it in a bowl. Delicious. It was so fucking yum. So if you're looking for something to try, give it a shot. Back to the casting audition. So yeah, I had 2 to do this morning before this, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to speak all day today. Like, got to do all these fucking auditions and shit. And some of them make you do the most ridiculous things. Like, for example, today, I had the Maxibon one, right? It was fucking, I was like, I didn't do that one first because one of them was due at 10 o'clock this morning. and I only realised this morning that it was due at 10 o'clock. So I got up and had to hustle. So one of them was literally, you just read to the camera, like your name, your agent, do you have any ads on air, like have you done advertising for a competitive product or like a competition, like their competition? Have you like are you available, blah blah blah, are you happy to? One of them was to appear on screen with my shirt off, and I was like, yeah, all good, don't worry. And then the self-tape is you just got to like audition doing shit in front of the camera. Like one of them was stand in front of the mirror, filming from the back, can't see your face, and you just do a bunch of movements with your back showing and a towel around your waist. That was pretty easy. Then the Maxibon one was a bit ridiculous. It like the same shit, like name to your name, agent, age, all that shit to the camera. Then it was like you got to perform this scenario. You got a Maxibon in your hand. Feel free to use a banana, a bar, or anything you have at home and show us how you would eat it. And I was like, you want me to eat a fucking banana on camera? All right then. So I wrote Maxibon on the side and like peeled it and like started eating it. And it was ridiculous. I felt like a fucking idiot. But it was very funny. So I have clipped it up and I'm going to put the video out on Instagram at some point because it's fucking funny. But yeah, they make you do like ridiculous things sometimes. Like Caitlin and I did one. It was fucking, I don't know, it was for like Metricon Homes last year. And we had to do all sorts of shit, which was crazy. But I'm getting better at it. Like it literally only took me probably half an hour to do both of them. So I was like, oh, okay. So I thought that was going to take a lot longer than it did. So after I did that, sat down and planned this podcast out. But yeah, so it's exciting. I could be appearing in 2 ads or I could be appearing in none. The worst part about this kind of shit is they don't tell you if you don't get it. They only tell you if you do. So usually you wait around, waiting to hear back, and you just never do. So like if nothing comes of it, at least I've got a good fucking gag reel to use, because it's quite funny. It's quite funny if I'm being honest. All right. Let's get into today's topic. I'm going to label it Recovery Secrets from an Avid Ironman. That's me. It started off, right? This may very well end up being 2 parts because there's quite a bit of shit to get through in this. So if it's going to be 2 parts, you'll know at the end because I'll like cut it off after one of them and then I will, I might record the rest of it today and then record an intro for it next week or whatever. But you don't have to know that now. Just know that these are my recovery secrets from me and Avid Ironman. At the moment, I wish I had more recovery secrets. My fucking forearms are sore. Anyway, now the way you look at recovery, or the way I look at recovery, is the recovery pyramid, right? On the bottom is sleep because that is the most important. Then it goes nutrition and hydration, stress management being physical stress and mental/emotional stress. Then there's the recovery therapies, which are like low intensity exercise, immersion therapies, stretching, massage. Then on top is recovery tools, which are like the stuff that's great. It helps, but it's not like the main shit. I guess with this recovery pyramid, it can vary depending on what, like if you've got a fucking serious injury, then sleep, nutrition, hydration, stress management aren't going to probably be as beneficial as a recovery therapy like a physio or something like that, like active movement. But generally, this is the pyramid to follow. So first cab off the rank is sleep. Now, you can say sleep, but the reality is quality sleep is important. This one takes the cake for most important. It does need to be, like I said before, it does need to be quality sleep. You can't have, you can fucking sleep for 10 hours, but if you keep waking up throughout that stage and move around, go to the toilet, this and that, like it's not really quality sleep. What you ideally want is you want a nice big chunk of time that you've slept solidly throughout the whole night. Now this means maybe trying not to have a bunch of water before you go to bed so that you're not constantly getting up, going to the toilet. This might mean using devices to try and block out noise around you so you stay asleep. block the light out of your room so the light doesn't wake you up when it comes through your windows, like all sorts of different things. So quality sleep is fucking very important, and I feel like sleep is overlooked, especially if your training takes up a lot of your time. Especially if training takes up a lot of your personal time. Generally, I feel like a lot of us are going to sacrifice sleep in order to gain a bit of that time back. Not the best choice, because it bites you in the ass, especially if you're training quite heavily. It doesn't do you any favors in the long run. I was talking about this with Noah a bit when we did our podcast, saying that, there are days, if you're training if you're training for an Ironman, for example, I'm probably going to use that a lot throughout this. Your training load is so heavy and you need it to be heavy, and you need to be consistent. You can't miss, huge chunks of time. So if you're really struggling and you're feeling tired and more tired, and you're losing more and more sleep, there are going to be sessions that you're better off missing just to get back some sleep. Like you might have a swim on a Monday morning after a huge Saturday. You're like, no, you know what? I'm going to sleep in and take those extra 2 or 3 hours, miss the swim, and just hit the next session and keep moving forward, because that extra 2 or 3 hours is going to bump your recovery up, put you in a better position, and it's going to allow you to keep training for longer rather than continually burning yourself out to the point where you can't go anymore. So yeah, don't overlook sleep, because it's very important. Like sometimes you are better off sacrificing, social time, sacrificing watching shit, sacrificing spending time doing some things that you might love for a bit more sleep, because it's nice. I've learned that, because I'm not working at the moment. It's been really nice to fucking take some days and actually sleep in and get a good solid chunk of sleep, especially leading into my Ironman. It was awesome, being able to take the sleep that I needed. Like I was waking up early being like, let's ready to go. Like I'm ready to fucking go. Let's do this, because I was having vast amounts of sleep, good quality sleep too. Now I have some ways that I improve my sleep, and I track all my sleep through my Whoop. I track it all through this because it's easier. It stays on my wrist the whole night, and I've been doing it for 2 years, maybe longer, and it's given me a way to actually monitor, what makes it better, what makes it worse, what's enough, what's not enough, and make sure that I'm not getting too many days in a row where it's not enough, because that doesn't last. I've learnt that the hard way. You got to make sure you can have a few days in a row where your sleep isn't the fucking best, but you got to pick it up somewhere, because otherwise it catches you pretty quick. So what are some ways to improve sleep? Now this one's fucking awesome. I don't always do it, but it works absolute wonders. Consistent bedtimes and wake up times. It just helps keep your body in a rhythm. So for me, when I'm feeling good, or when I'm kind of need to have a rhythm, it's bed by 8 o'clock. Not asleep by 8 o'clock, but in bed, everything's off, lying there, trying to go to sleep by 8 o'clock, 8:15 at the latest. That way I'm definitely asleep by 8:30, and, get up at 4:30 and hit the day. That gives me a good chunk of time to be asleep, not the perfect, not the best case scenario, but it's pretty fucking good. If I've got a really busy day and I've got a bunch of shit to do, that's the best I'm going to get. So 8 o'clock, bedtime, 4:30 wake up time, absolute money. Some days I've got to get up a bit earlier, but you know what? If I can stick to that, I'm happy. So you got to try and pick times for you that work, non-negotiable times that you do most of the time. On the weekend, I let that slide a bit. I know they say you're not supposed to, but I'll always get up a bit later on the weekend, 5 o'clock, maybe 5:20. Now that the sun's, or it's not bright until later. So now if I get up early, I know I'm going to have to ride the whole time in the dark, or run the whole time in the dark, which sucks. But, on the weekend, I'm I might avoid it because I don't really have anything else to do. So that's my number one tip, or one of my tips. Reduce exposure to light 1 or 2 hours before going to bed. This one's another one that I like doing, blinds shut, lights off. You can have the TV on or whatever. Just don't have bright lights going into your eyes, 1 to 2 hours before bed. It's really hard when daylight savings is around and you want to try to go to sleep at 8 o'clock. I find it really difficult because it's still fucking, bright as the middle of the day at like 8 p.m. It's so difficult to try and get some shut eye. So that's when I would suggest potentially like taping your windows shut, because it just blocks out all the light. So tape your windows or tape your blinds to your windows, and it just blocks out all the light that can get in. Even wear a sleep mask. But mainly before you go to bed, just try and reduce exposure to really bright lights for 1 to 2 hours, because that way your body starts to like chill out and get ready to go into like sleep mode. There's also an alarm clock you can buy that's called a dawn simulator, which I think they're kind of expensive. I don't have one. I've looked at buying one. I just haven't got around to doing it. That is like meant to simulate the sunrise. So you can actually set it to go off at 4 o'clock in the morning when the sun isn't up, and it will slowly start to brighten up until it lights up your whole room and wakes you up. And your body is meant to wake up like more gently, because it thinks that it's literally the sun rising, and it's like, oh, it's time to wake up. So that's another thing you could potentially look at. Then the next tip I have is reduce exposure to adrenaline spiking activities / conversations at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. This is a big one. I notice this. Whenever I have conversations with people that really like rev me up, I can't sleep. Even if it's like 3 hours before bed, I cannot sleep. I gotta just can't talk about really serious, hectic, adrenaline spiking things before bed. It just does not work for me. I'm fine watching TV shows and movies and stuff as long as they're kind of lighthearted, but not adrenaline spiking things. So, activities for me, I'm not going to go run around training and shit 2 or 3 hours before bed. I'm already done that. I'm going to eat a meal and just start to chill the fuck out. So yeah, just try to avoid spiking that adrenaline, because for me, it doesn't work. You just lie there with your eyes shut, but everything's going on inside your brain because your adrenaline's pumping. So just try and shut that shit down. If someone's starting to have a conversation with you that's going to ramp up your adrenaline, maybe just tell them, be like, hey, look, I can't talk about this now. It's it's not the right time. I'm exhausted. I want to go to bed. I don't want to have to summon that much energy. I'll talk about it with you tomorrow. Because you're going to benefit yourself if you can go to bed and not spend an hour and a half lying there trying to get to sleep and actually fall asleep straight away. That's an extra hour and a half of sleep you've got in the bank, which is fucking that's enough to change the game. I mentioned this before, but find things that help you wind down. Like for me, a light, fun movie or a TV show always works absolute wonders. Recently it was Peacemaker. That was a fucking great TV show with John Cena, based off DC Comics. Fantastic show, helped me wind down heaps. Absolutely loved it. The opposite could be said for Reacher. That kept me awake because it was so engaging and so revved up. That made me want to stay up, and I did stay up well and truly past the time I wanted to go to bed because I couldn't stop watching it, and because it was spiking adrenaline in me. So find things that help you wind down. It might be reading a book. It could be meditating, could be yoga, could be anything. Find things that help you zen out before you jump into bed and try and go to sleep. Another huge thing for me is earplugs. Sometimes the dogs bark, sometimes there's noise going on in the house, cars going past, whatever. I always chuck one earplug in and then one ear to the pillow. Sometimes even 2 earplugs in. If someone's having a fucking party, 2 earplugs are going in, blocking out that noise. It is amazing. For me, I fucking love it because I feel like I'm in my own little cocoon. No one can touch me when I'm in my little earplug cocoon. I just don't hear anything. It's this is the best. I understand that it might be weird for some people. What if someone tries to murder me in my sleep? It's yeah, that's true. I probably wouldn't hear them coming, and it'd be game over pretty quickly. But for me, it's like I just get to escape every noise possible, and it's just white noise in my ear, just like fantastic. Also fantastic for thinking because you don't hear anything. Then next up, I've got my sleep stack, which I've written down quantities. Because I've never done that before, but it's 1,000 milligrams of magnesium threonate or magnesium L-threonate, 200 milligrams of L-theanine, 20 milligrams of apigenin powder, and why is that person driving so slow? That's odd. Anyway, 20 milligrams of apigenin extract powder, which is like from chamomile tea. They extract apigenin from there. Take that half an hour before bed. Fucking, you're going to have a great sleep and you're going to recover fantastically. All those things you can buy on eBay. The apigenin powder is a bit sketchy. It comes from India, but it works. So it's not illegal. It's a chamomile tea extract. It's not a fucking drug. So it's fine. The magnesium threonate and the L-theanine you can find on eBay too. I usually get veg caps because I don't want like some weird animal product capsule around it. I'm not about that. So I get vegan capsules. That's a fucking game changer for me too. Then this is where my Whoop comes in. I monitor other habits that may improve or worsen my sleep. It just helps give me an idea of what works, what doesn't work, where I can improve, and just different ways to help improve my sleep. An example is food consumption, being whether you've had enough food for the day or whether you've eaten like highly processed stuff for the day. For me, I know if I haven't had enough food for like a couple of days in a row, like if I've been training really heavily and I haven't had enough time to actually eat enough, my recovery will always be lower. And then when I start eating more, my recovery bumps up a bit. So like if I don't have a high training load, my recovery is generally higher because I'm able to actually eat a lot more. I feel better. And I guess I'm not training as much. Food consumption, like another one is when you eat highly processed food. So for me, whenever you wake up, you answer a little questionnaire on the Whoop about have you had processed food today? Yes, no. If I have a lot of processed food, if I'm constantly hitting yes, my recoveries generally dip a bit. Whereas if I don't, they're pretty high. So that's another thing. It's also I know it helps motivate me to not have highly processed food because I'll be like, no, I haven't had it. No, I haven't had it. Every time I'm like, yes, I'm like, fuck, could be doing better. So it's a little, bonus point, I guess, for that. Hydration. Did you drink enough water? So I always input, how much water I drank. And I know that whenever I don't have enough the day before, my recovery always dips a bit, especially if I had a pretty heavy training load and I've struggled to drink enough water or liquid. My recovery will always dip. And not to mention, with food and hydration, they have such an impact on sleep. It's not funny. Like if you have enough food for the day and you're fully hydrated, mate, you are going to sleep like a champion. But if you don't drink enough and you don't eat enough, your sleep's going to be interrupted. It's going to be shit hours. So I didn't realize how much of an impact eating enough and drinking enough actually had on sleep, let alone recovery the next day. I think the reason your recovery the next day is bad is not because you didn't fuel yourself enough, but it's because you didn't fuel yourself enough to actually have a good sleep. So that's a massive thing. If you're having really bad sleeps, maybe look at how much you're eating and how much you're drinking, because you may not be consuming enough. Next up is the big old SEX. Generally speaking, you sleep better after getting down and dirty. So keep an eye on that one. Make note of that next time you do it and see how you sleep. I know I sleep better. Earplugs or eye mask. I mentioned the earplugs and eye mask before. It's just great to block everything else out and keep yourself from getting overloaded in a sensory manner. And just keep yourself in your own little cocoon where you can focus on the things you need to focus on, being sleep. Limiting use of your phone in bed. Like some people are okay with it and that's fine. Other people, it revs them up too much and they struggle to go to sleep. For me, I've found it doesn't really have a huge impact on my sleep that much, so I'm okay using it. But just monitor that. Like, if you fucking find that every time you use your phone you have a shit sleep, maybe don't use your phone. Next up is sauna or ice bath. This one, I find, like, after an ice bath, it's weird. You get kind of revved up, but then you get hit with a wave of wanting to sleep. So I think I find myself pretty tired after an ice bath. So it might be all right to jump in just before bed, and that way you're cool as well. So if you're sleep hot, you're nice and cool. You get in, you rug up, and it's a good sleep. Sauna definitely zonks me out. Every time I leave the pool, after having a sauna, I could go to sleep in my car. So, like, I don't know the science behind it. I'm not going to pretend to know the science behind it. But, you know, if it makes you tired, it must be, you know, good for sleep. Activity levels too. Monitor activity levels. If you've fucking done too much, you might have a bad sleep. I know I do. Every time I race, I always have a bad sleep the night after. I can't help it. Whether it's because I've had some caffeine during the race, or whether I've had, whether my adrenaline's spiking because of the race, or because I've just, overexerted myself. I always struggle to sleep after racing. So monitor your activity levels as well. And then the last one I've got here, last thing to monitor I've got is caffeine. Like, how much caffeine did you have and when did you last have it? That has a way of impacting your sleep. I'll try not to have caffeine after 12 o'clock. It's just a rule of thumb I follow. Generally have maybe 2, maybe 3 coffees a day, but I won't have anything after 12 o'clock if I can avoid it, because, I don't want to be struggling to get to sleep for the sake of a coffee. It's not worth it. So that wraps up sleep in a nice little bow there. Next up on the recovery pyramid is nutrition, hydration. Yes, nutrition and hydration. I took a little break there. My voice was getting a bit sore, and I realized that I got a lot more to get through. So I was like, I'm going to take a break, a bit of a drink, and now I'm back. Although you guys wouldn't have known if I didn't tell you. Nutrition and hydration. So basically the question of, have you had enough food and have you had enough water for the day? I touched on this briefly before, as it can help with sleep, but this is more so just in general. This is very important, almost goes hand in hand with sleep, as it generally, if you don't have enough food or hydration, you're not going to sleep well, I said before. The hardest thing among athletes is actually consuming enough food to offset their training, in particular Ironman. For me, I felt this during the week. I'd have to pick up on what I missed out on over the weekend, because generally I would be training until 12 o'clock or even later some days. Some days I would go until 4 o'clock, and you can only eat so much on the bike. So there were days where I just couldn't pick up the difference, and I'd have to pick it up during the week. At the moment, it's not that bad because I'm not training for that long, but same deal applies. Like, some days I don't eat as much as I should, and then I've got to play catch up, and catch up is not fun. So yeah, you've got to be mindful of, I guess, what sport you're in, because that determines how much you need to consume. And I know, like, ultra endurance athletes would struggle, Ironman would struggle, which is an ultra endurance athlete, and even like big bodybuilders, like the super heavyweights, like the unnatural dudes, they're going to struggle too, because in order to keep their muscle, they're going to have to eat a fucking shitload of food. But anyway, how can you make sure you're going to get enough food in throughout the day? Now, first off, most importantly, don't be too harsh on yourself if you don't if you don't eat enough. I really struggle a lot with this one, but I definitely notice a difference when I actually do eat enough food. I usually only get it right, like I said, on the days where I don't have a heap of training, and the days where I've got a complete rest day, because I've got plenty of time to eat, because for me it's more of a time factor. Like, if I don't finish training till 11 o'clock, then I've just missed breakfast completely and trained through it. And now it's like, I've got to eat lunch, and then, I'll be full, and then I won't eat until dinner. It's like, you can't play catch up. So you've just got to try and eat as much as you can when you can. And if you miss out on it, don't fucking, don't beat yourself up about it. You just, move on to the next day and try and be better then. I use my Whoop recovery scores to usually show this one. For example, yesterday wasn't too bad. I ate pretty good. But, like, I know if I don't eat enough one day, like, for example, if I've only eaten like fucking a third of what I should have eaten, I know the next day my recovery is going to be shit, whether it's because I had a shit sleep or my body just hasn't had enough food and it's, a bit more amped up. I know I'm going to have a shit recovery score. So the way I try and combat this, generally speaking, it's worked for me for the past couple of years. Obviously since coming out of my eating disorder, is generally, if I'm hungry, I'll eat. If I feel like food, I'm going to eat. I'm mindful that sometimes it may be out of boredom, but generally speaking, if I'm hungry for a reason, and it's because my body wants food, so I try and eat. I try and make better choices around what to eat when I'm hungry, like especially if I'm snacking, but you know what, some days food is food, and you're better off eating something than nothing. So yeah, generally speaking, if you're hungry, eat. So I first noticed a massive difference in this with my recent Ironman training block, where both physically and mentally, or physically on the outside and physically on the inside. So on the inside, I just felt better. I wasn't training as much because I cut the strength out and I was having more days where I'd only have one session, which was nice, but my training load was still ramped up. And there were days I would just be eating. I was just eating anything and everything. I wasn't restricting what I could and couldn't eat based off whether it was healthy or not healthy. I was just getting in what I could get in. And that fucking worked absolute wonders for me. So I felt fantastic on the inside. And then the outside, I started noticing, I was like, shit, I'm looking pretty shredded, because I was eating enough and my body was happy. And it was like, this is good. I like this. It was fueling it to just absolutely fucking fight. And this ties in perfectly with a conversation I had with Ben while we were playing golf, actually. And it was about muscle gain. And he said to me, if you're gaining fat instead of muscle, then you're not eating enough. This is if you're training. So if you're gaining more fat than you are muscle, then you're not eating enough, because your body's natural response is it'll catabolize the muscles and use that as fuel and put the food you're consuming into fat to try and protect itself, protect its joints and stuff like that. Because if you're not eating enough, your body's they call it starvation mode. Your body feels threatened. It's like, this is not good. We've got to start padding it out and protecting ourselves from, whatever threat might be coming. Being it could be a fucking, a famine or something like that. Because if you've reduced your food that much, your body's going to be asking questions. It can't see what's going on, so it doesn't know you're just not eating enough. So if you ramp up your food, you'll start to put on more muscle, because your body will be like, yeah, fucking oath, raring to go with it. So that's it blew my mind. I don't know if I'm getting it across exactly how he said it, but that's the general way, or that's the way I kind of understood it. But as I was saying before, sometimes you're better just getting something in. It can't always be healthy, unprocessed food. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the job done. And for me, sometimes it's just double parking at Grilled and getting fucking delicious burgers and shit like that. Oh, so next up. So so this is something I don't do. This is just in order to make sure you're getting the right foods in. If you really want to, you can track your intake. And the way you can do this is through MyFitnessPal or whatever. I don't know what you should break it down to in terms of proteins, fats, and whatever. But if you're looking to gain muscle, set yourself a certain amount. Or if you're looking to gain muscle, set yourself a certain amount of calories, say 2,500, right? Eat that for a couple of weeks. What happens? Monitor your weight, how you look, and look at yourself and see what happens. So if you start losing weight when you want to gain muscle, you're not eating enough. So bump up your calories by 100, 200 calories. Do it for another 3 weeks, see what happens. You still, don't gain any weight. You start losing weight. You don't look any more muscle. Up the calories again until you get the results you want to see every 3 or so weeks. Same goes for the opposite. If you want to lose weight, set a base target, see what happens, and keep cutting back until you get the result you want. I don't count calories because I just don't like it. I have an addictive personality. I don't really want to get hooked on counting calories of every fucking meal. It's just, I'm not interested in that. I'll leave that to the bodybuilders and whatnot. But they're just generally the tips that I follow to making sure you get enough food in. For me around my Ironman, it was just eat whenever you want. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. If I'm hungry, I'll just fucking eat. And that's the simplest way I can put it for myself. I know it's going to be different for everyone, but for me, it's like, if I'm hungry, eat. That's the easiest way for me to look at it. Then in terms of hydration, this one's really hard for me. I get food in much better than hydration. But if I was to try and keep it simple, these are the rules that I would follow. It'd be just try and drink 3 to 4 liters of water a day. If you're doing some pretty intense activity where you're sweating a lot, try and include, at least 1 liter of electrolytes within that 3 to 4 liters, coming from whether it's a Powerade or a Cocoa Coast or like a fizzy hydration tab. For me, I usually just drink 2 of these a day. If I've, like this morning, I hit a pretty sweaty bike sesh, so I got to bump up the electrolytes. I'll have that, and I'll have I'll have some salty toast, which is where I just put toast with a bit of Nutlex, and I just have salt on top. It's delicious. So yeah, I'll have salty toast sometimes as well. But they're my tips for just trying to get in hydration. It's really hard. Keep a drink bottle on hand at all times. That's another way to do it. Fucking eat a bunch of fruit too. That's one way I like to do it as well. You get your hydration or fluid through the fruit. It's a great way to do it. Here we go. Yeah. So this is basically how I determined. Not how I determined, but I was told that hydration was important for a long time, as we all are. But I didn't believe it until I started noticing, during my Ironman block, it would be if I had an 8-hour fucking training session on Saturday and I didn't hydrate properly. Even in the one recently, if I had a big block on the Saturday and I didn't hydrate properly, I'd get to the Sunday run and I would just feel dry. My sweat would be saltier and coarse, and I just felt hot and like I was gonna fucking die. You just know when you haven't had enough water. You can just feel it in your body, and it doesn't feel good. So yeah, try and be on top of that. Another way I track that again with my Whoop, I'll always put in how much water I've had throughout the day, and I'll know if I haven't had enough. It asks me in terms of cups. I usually try and hit 12 plus, especially if I'm training, but if I'm any less than that, then I'm like, I didn't have enough today. And I can expect to feel the pinch of that one. Another way to potentially do that is if first thing in the morning, if you wake up, smash 2 glasses of water. That gets you, a good jump start on the day. Now, I think I'm definitely going to do this into 2 parts, not 3 parts. So I think that's it for this week's episode. Next week, I'm going to cover off the rest of the pyramid. But yeah, this one really intrigued me, this topic of podcast. I thought I'd save it for after my Ironman. That way I can figure out little things to add to it and stuff like that. It's, recovery is massive, especially if you're trying to train consistently. You really want to be on top of it, because the last thing you want is injuries pulling you out. And injuries I'll talk about in the next couple of kind of thingos, because sleep and hydration nutrition aren't really about injury. They could prevent injuries, but they're more so just keeping your life on track. Because if you don't sleep well and you don't eat properly, you don't hydrate properly, your life's going to go off the rails, and your training isn't even going to be anywhere in there, because you're not going to have time for it. You're not going to be feeling up to it at all. So yeah, for me, my sleep and hydration nutrition, hydration are the top priorities. I'm getting better at them. You're never going to be perfect, but if you can just try and learn through your mistakes, you'll be up there. And once you start seeing results, it won't take much for you to be like, no, I know I need to do this. I know I need to be on top of this. I know I need to eat enough. I know I need to drink enough because I feel better for it. So once you start seeing those changes, then you'll fucking crush it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed part 1. I'll hit you up with part 2 next week. Hope you have a good week. I will, I'm going to keep heaps of stories backlog for this week that's coming up. I've got plenty of shit going on. But I'll figure some cool stuff out, and I'll, report back to you guys. I'm keen for my big ride tomorrow on my swim. Psychologist. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys have a ripper week, and I'll chat to you guys again next week. I don't know, one of them. Peace out, my friends.